Everyone, welcome to my channel, Lenny Cosplay. I'm Lenny. Today we're going to be doing a craft related to tie-dye. I have a custom tie-dye face mask order that I'm creating for someone special. I'm going to show you how to make your very own tie-dye pattern. First, we're going to start off with the materials that are needed for this project. First, you want to use whatever fabric that you want to incorporate the tie-dye pattern with. Since I'm making a customized face mask, I sew these myself, I'm going to use some raw material. I have a very simple, basic cotton muslin, which is off-white fabric. Make sure that whatever fabric you're using is completely cleaned and dried off. Next, we're going to need assorted rubber bands in all different colors, shapes, and sizes. Next, we're going to need a paintbrush, somewhat of a bit of a thickness to it because we're going to use this to apply some of the paint. Next, we're going to use paint. I have specific 3 colors upon request for this mask order. I do prefer brighter colors for this project because the acrylic paint that will be used for the project, it will be diluted. I have a really vibrant green, really nice, bright and pretty purple, and a really vibrant blue. So these are just basic acrylic paints and they're by different brands. So there's no specific brand needed for this project. Next, we're going to need rubbing alcohol. The percentage wise, I would do anything from 80 plus. So I have a 91% rubbing alcohol, and we're going to use this in equal parts to mix with the acrylic paint. And for that reason, it's to help combine the paint and the alcohol to fuse really well with the material that you're using, because this is a fabric that you're using as an apparel and it will be eventually washed and dried. So with that combination of the acrylic paint and the alcohol, it's going to keep that color fused into that material and to last a bit longer while it's being washed and dried, so you can enjoy your new apparel. Lastly, we're going to need containers. So we do need a slightly larger container to fill up with water. It doesn't have to be super cold or super hot. It could be lukewarm water, just to dip your fabric in, completely submerged in that water, and we're going to give it a nice wring it out so it can be damp. And we would need to do that first prior to applying any paint combination to the fabric itself. Lastly, we need containers for your paint. You can use up to as many colors as you'd like to create this tie-dye combination. Since I'm using 3 color paints, I will need 3 separate containers to combine my acrylic paint and the alcohol combination per container. All right, let's get started on this project. Now that we're ready to begin our project with all of our materials gathered up, let's begin. Step 1, we have our bowl. We fill it up with room temperature or cold or hot water. It doesn't really matter. We're just using this to dampen the material that you're using for this project. So let's completely submerge the material in the water. Perfect. And you just want to wring it out just enough so it's damp. Make sure that you're doing this project on a surface that is completely covered so you don't damage or ruin any furniture or floor during this project. Your material should look like this. And you're going to spread it out all the way, completely open. Just like that. Perfect. Now you're going to fold the material in half vertically. It should look something like this. And you would do the same method, whether you're DIYing tie-dye a t-shirt, socks, or even sweatpants. Next, you want to lift up the edge diagonally, kind of on like that measurement, if that makes sense. Next, from this end corner piece here, you want to completely roll, 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 roll. The thinner you roll up the material together, the tighter that the material feels, the smaller the lines come out. The thicker you roll the material, the thicker the tie-dye lines will come out. So once you've rolled it, I've rolled it a bit tighter because I'm looking for a bit more lines rather than thicker. I'm looking for thinner lines. Next, you want to arch it and kind of make it look like a ring. And you would use a rubber band or even a string. If you don't have rubber bands for this project, that's fine. You just want to tie up the ends here really nice and tight so that your roll-up work doesn't unravel. Perfect. Now what you can also do, if you were using string to incorporate the methods of adding the lines instead of the rubber bands, you would tie off multiple different sections, as many as you want throughout the braid. Since I'm not using string, we're actually going to take this apart and we're going to rubber band it individually throughout, just like this. See? And you can add as many lines throughout as you'd like. This is all for different line textures that will appear once the paint is applied. All right. So this is what it would look like once it's completely tied up with the rubber bands, or if you were to use the string method. So I did my method a little bit tighter. I rolled up the material tighter and I added lots of multiple different sized rubber bands, and I tied them up pretty close together because I'm looking for a bit of a specific blended look. Since I'm using multiple different colors, I really wanted to capture all of the colors in multiple different patterns so it would flow really nice throughout this material. Next, we're going to add paint. Our paint step, you have your completely tied up piece of fabric. Make sure that you are painting on a surface that you don't want to get damaged or dirty, so it's completely covered up. You're going to need your paintbrush and you're going to need your containers. So where do we begin? Shake up your paint really good and grab your first color of paint. We are going to use equal parts of acrylic paint and your alcohol. So here I have that really pretty bright blue, and you want to add equal parts of rubbing alcohol, which could be 80% or more. So So the key here is to have the liquid really blended up well, and it's going to be really thinned out. Not too thin to the point to where it's like completely watercolor, but it's going to be thinner than the paint itself. You mix that up really good. Don't be surprised if you see some separation here of the acrylic paint and the alcohol itself. That's completely normal. That's the alcohol activating with the acrylic paint, and it will cause a little bit of separation, but it's actually blending quite nicely here, and it's a really good consistency, just like that. That's what we're looking for. Perfect. I'm just going to wipe off my brush here on that fabric. And we're going to follow the same steps with all of the other colors. Moving on to this beautiful purple. And we'll do the same method. Beautiful. Add the alcohol. And stir, stir, stir. And our last color, this vibrant, beautiful green. Now that we have our acrylic paint and our alcohol combination combined, we get to begin the painting process. So you want to begin with your first color. And you're going to paint the sections throughout. Don't forget to flip the material as well. It will seep in, but make sure you get the other side for extra color coverage. All right. Make sure you get any white spots completely covered if you don't want them exposed. Once this completely dries for about 24 hours, we're going to snip off the rubber bands or the string if you used it, and we're going to unravel the fabric. Please note that most of the colors should be blended and dried properly. However, since this is a tie-dye project, they're not really going to be evenly in perfected lines, so to say. This is all because of the acrylic and the water that was absorbed into the cotton along with the alcohol combined with the acrylic paint. It causes it to spread out through the material depending on the thickness and the graining of the fabric itself. Again, it is a tie-dye project, so it's going to look really abstract-like and funky, as you would say. And it's going to look absolutely gorgeous with all of the vibrant color combinations that you apply to it. So let's let this dry for 24 hours, and then we'll do the unveiling of the pattern. Welcome back, everyone. So now that we've officially waited 24 hours for our material to dry off completely with the acrylic and the alcohol mixture, let's check out to see what our design looks like. So it should be nice and dry, still intact with all the rubber bands. Our first step is that we're going to remove the rubber bands or remove the string if you use that. All right, now that we have our rubber bands and our tie string removed, let's unravel and see the results. Woo! All right, so we have texture, color combinations going on the sides, creeping in through the middle, and we have some of that really cool, funky tie-dye looking effect. So just a pro tip for everyone, the more liquefied that the paint and the alcohol combination is, the more that it's going to flow throughout the cotton or the polyester material that you're using. So that'll help the paint and color spread out through the material and cover more space onto the fabric itself. Remember, everyone, at the end of the day, this is art. You're supposed to have fun with it, and there is no wrong answer in art. This is all based on your learning experience, your creativity, and practice, practice, practice. But most of all, enjoy what you do and love what you do. Art is appreciated everywhere. I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. I look forward to doing many, many more tutorials and possibly another tie-dye tutorial and really practice on these intricate patterns. There are so many ways that you can tie-dye your clothing or other materials and really pinpoint an exact pattern that you were looking for. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share this. If you have any additional ideas, please feel free to share them with me. I would love to know. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay crafty.